All right. All right. All right. All right. Situated. All right. Shalom, family. All praises to the Most High and power to the chosen people. All right. Now, tonight, we're going to get into, Hebraic thought in the New Testament, because a lot of people think that, the New Testament has no Hebraic thought, no Hebraic language. It was not written in the Eastern mindset of our people, and that it was just too heavily Greek influenced, and that it's not reliable. A lot of our people think that the New Testament is not reliable. All right. So today, what I'm going to get into is just a source that I found that goes into archaeology, and it goes into how in the first century Judea there's a lot of Hebrew inscriptions in first century Judea in the time of the Roman Empire. There's a lot of evidence of Hebraic inscriptions by the Jews of that time. All right. So now it's gonna be a quick video. I'm finna share these documents, and we're gonna get into it. All right. Let me share my screen real quick. Let's get right into it. All right. All right, about to get right into this. Go all the way to the beginning. All right. So this is a good pickup. I haven't read it all, but I scammed through it and just saw some few interesting things. All right. And so the document that I found is the Jewish and Christian Perspective series. This is the language environment of first century Judea. All right. Volume 2 by Randall Booth and R. Stephen Notley. All right. So y'all can get this document and download it. I just stumbled across, and we were going to go to this section down here, the use of Hebrew and Aramaic in epigraphic sources of the New Testament era. All right, we're going to go there, and I'm going to just read through that section real quick, and I'm going to get off here. Let's go down there. This is important information. We have to study to show ourselves approved, Israel. All right. All right, let me get down here, see if I can get to it. Yeah, I'll get there. All right. 1 second. All right. Here we go. And I'm going to go down. Which section is to this section, the material. All right. So now that we're going to get into some sources that these people came across, that these scholars came across, that show there's a lot of Hebrew inscriptions. It seems like there was that the Hebrew language is actually pretty common in this time period. All right. So let's read. And it says, a comprehensive catalog of Jewish inscriptions from the land of Israel does not exist. The most recent collection covering the whole land of Israel, the Corpus Inscriptionum Judacarum, dates back more than half a century and does in many respects not meet modern methodological standards. Work is still in progress on a successor, the Corpus Inscriptionum Judea Palestinae, of which the first 2 volumes have just recently appeared in print, while 9 volumes are projected together. All right. So now let's see what this Corpus Inscriptionum Judacarum is. All right. Let's look at that real quick, because this is something that they talk about a lot in this book. So let's look at that real quick. Corpus Inscriptionum Judacarum. What is that? BCE 5th century. The compilation of Jewish and Hebrew inscriptions is part of the research programs of the Jewish Museum of Greece, which focus on the recording, study, and publication of tangible and intangible evidence of the archaeological and historical past of the Greek Jews. Interesting, right? Of the Greek Jews, the Hellenistic Jews, right? All right, and let's go back to the document. Let's go down. All right, the estimated number of 10,000 texts in CIP, or Roman, that's the Roman numeral, compared to the 533 texts compiled in CIJ, gives us a vague idea of how drastically the epigraphic landscape has changed in the past 50 years. Until the final completion of the CIP, we therefore still have to turn to a number of separate catalogs, collections, and excavation reports to get a rough idea of language used in the petrographic material of the period in question. Following material from major excavations and publications has been included in this summary. The Corpus Inscriptionum Judacarum, though outdated, still offers the broadest and most diverse collection of inscriptions from across the land of Israel. Among the 535 samples, 3 groups stand out as separate corpora: 178 Ashuri inscriptions from Jerusalem, 169 inscriptions from Beth Sha'arim necropolis, dating from the late 2nd century to the 5th century CE, and 69 inscriptions from the Joppa necropolis, dating from the late 2nd and 3rd century CE. Of the remaining 117 inscriptions, 48 are without date, and some others are dated only very vaguely. All right, so it says this is the most, diverse, and this is the broadest one across all of Israel. All right, let's keep going. All right, volume 1.1. All right, this of the CIP contains, according to the layout of the series, all inscriptions found in the Jerusalem area that can be dated before 70 CE. Most of these are usury and ossuary and funerary inscriptions. Most others are ostraka and domestic utensils like engraved vessels, pottery stands, stone weights, and so on. Let's see, volume 1.2 contains only inscriptions later than 70 CE and therefore has been excluded from the survey as a whole. In contrast, volume 2 has been included because it contains inscriptions from all areas collected from Caesarea and the surrounding coastline. However, other than volume 1, the majority of the finds in volume 2 cannot be dated with certainty before or after 70 CE. Outside of Jerusalem, the excavations at Masada have probably yielded the largest number of inscriptions from the Second Temple period. The final excavation reports list a total of 941 inscriptions, 700 in Hebrew or Aramaic. Whoa. All right, so in the Masada, this is the Masada period. All right, this is the Masada period. And In the final excavation reports, you have 941 inscriptions and 700 in Hebrew or Aramaic. Whoa. Let's keep reading. In the Batian, 2 in the Batian, 105 in Latin, 101 in Greek, 6 in Latin and Greek, bilingual, and 27 which cannot be clearly identified as being either Greek or Latin. However, the impressive numbers are misleading since 301 of the 700 inscriptions in Jewish script can contain no more than one letter each. Another 139 samples contain names and list of names, much like the Ashuri inscriptions from Jerusalem, and are only of limited value for language studies. Most of the Latin material is dated of the time of Herod the Great, some of it also to the period of Roman occupation after 74 CE. The Greek material originates both from the Herodian times and from the time of the Jewish revolt. At least one document and 2 ostraka are dated to Byzantine times. The Hebrew and Aramaic material, however, can safely be dated to a period before the fall of the Masada in 73 CE. The excavations at Herodian have yielded a total of 63 inscriptions and ostraka, 28 of which are dated by the excavators to the 1st or early 2nd century. Some of these Herodian 14, 20, 22, and so on, however, contain no text, but only drawings and symbols. All right, inscriptions from Beth Shearim that were discovered during the first phase of excavations in 1936, 1940 have been included in the CIJ. However, further excavations during the years 1953 through 1958 brought to light more burial caves and inscriptions. The total number of inscriptions published in the final reports rose to 290, dating from the late 2nd century to the 5th century. In spite of the late date, this collection is particularly interesting because of a relatively large number of Hebrew inscriptions. Let's keep going. A number of Hebrew inscriptions probably originating from a circle of scholars and their families who remained fluent in Hebrew at a time when the general populace spoke Aramaic or Greek. Interesting. Oh boy, that's crazy. And so it mentions the Masara period. Let's go to that real quick. I mean, my bad, Masada. All right, let's look at the Masada period real quick and look at the time period of the Masada period. All right. If I can get to it. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right. Masada is an ancient stone fortress in Israel, located high above the Dead Sea on a tall, rocky mesa, now an Israeli national park, so on and so forth. All right. Masada is located in Israel on the edge of the Judean desert between Ein Gedi and Sodom on cliffs made up of chalk, dolomite, and marl strata about 1,300 feet above the Dead Sea. Blase, blah. Let's see. Meaning, strong foundation of support in Hebrew. Masada is a natural fortress built on top of a barren, mountainous desert plateau, thousands of feet above the Dead Sea. Herod the Great, king of Judea, originally built Masada as a castle complex in the last century BC. When the ancient Romans overtook Judea in the 1st century AD, the grounds became a fortress for the Jewish people. Josephus Flavius, the commander of Galilee during the Great Revolt in the 1st century AD, chronicled the known history of Masada. Future excavation of the site has largely corroborated his accounts. According to Flavius, the first fort at Masada was built by Jonathan the high priest. All right. So the building of the Masada, this whole Masada period, this was in the time of the Romans. And in the time of the Romans and in the time of the Sage of Masada, we had a lot of Hebrew inscriptions. So let's look at this. Sage of Masada. Following Menahem's murder in 66 AD in Jerusalem, Elazar ben Yair fled from Jerusalem to Masada to command a group of Judean rebels. When Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, the remaining rebels joined Menahem at Masada to live in Herod's former places. All right. With Jerusalem in ruins, the Romans turned their attention to taking down Masada, the last community in Judea with 960 rebels, including many women and children, led by blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. For nearly 13 centuries, the area remained uninhabited until 1828. Scholars rediscovered Masada. In the following years, researchers climbed the mountain and mapped it. In 1953, Israeli archaeologist Shemariah Gutman excavated Masada. Other researchers continued to excavate the site in the 1950s and 1960s, which was documented in the document that I have. Further excavations in the 1980s and 1990s uncovered more structures. All right, so we see that the Sage of Masada took place, around 70 to 73 AD. All right, which is New Testament, quote unquote, New Testament time. All right. And in New Testament time, according to these documents, there was a flux of Hebrew inscriptions in this place called Masada. In the New Testament time, in the Roman Empire time, right? And like you said, the Corpus Inscriptionum Judicarum, offers, some of the most diverse collection of inscriptions across the land of Israel, period. All right. And it's interesting. A pretty, big find, and this is a W for New Testament believers, because you think people don't understand. People don't understand that, just like here in America, we came over here in ships, and we became accustomed to the American way of life. So now we speak English. This is our primary language, and this is just the way we operate. You got to understand, in those times, there's nothing new under the sun. When our people went into Roman captivity and Greek captivity, we had to follow their customs and their ways, and we assimilated and started acting like these people, right? But the Most High always preserves a remnant of us. That way we can wake up the rest of our people. So like it says here, that it says again, a circle of scholars and their families who remained fluent in Hebrew at a time when the general populace spoke Aramaic or Greek. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that although a lot of our people were speaking Greek and a lot of our people were, assimilated to that culture, you got to understand, just like today, we have a lot of Israelites that are awake, right? A lot of Israelites that are, quote unquote, awake. But, we speak English, we're getting fluent in Hebrew and stuff, but, when we, deal with our people in a large scale, we speak to them in a language that they know, which is English, which is not our original language. Just like back then, the original language was not Greek or Aramaic. You know what I'm saying? It was, the ancient Hebrew, but same as today. In their time, when they're, prophesying and preaching and coming to their people, they have to speak to them in a language that they know, but they're speaking to them with a Hebraic thought. listen to me, family. They're speaking to them in a Hebraic thought. That is important, and and you gotta understand. This is just a cycle. This is how it's always been throughout the course of history. We we go against the Most High, we get assimilated to another culture, and then next thing you know, we lose our identity and lose everything we stand for. And so it's the same thing. We have to realize, that the New Testament is not in a whole different mindset. It's not in a different, mind frame. It's not, spoken in a different thought or tongue, right? These people were just speaking a different language, but they still had the Hebraic mindset, the Hebraic thought behind what they were saying, because they were going to the scattered that were in, you know, amongst these heathens. Okay. So I just wanted to pull that out real quick. I want to say, um, uh, Yah bless Israel and the elect, and just continue to. I'm just here to try to help us, Israel. I want us to continue to grow, get to a better place, right? And I want to say I truly love y'all, and let's continue to build and unite and grow as a people, dear y'all. Um, and Israel, just understand we need to grow. We need to grow, Israel. And so with that, I like to say, shalom, all praise to the Most High, and praise to the chosen people.